Welcome to Pocono Mountains podcast. I'm your host, Jim Hamill. Every so often on the podcast, we're sitting down with the people of the Poconos, the men and the women who are either behind the scenes or the first points of contact when you get into town. People like Jane Kohler, who works at the Jim Thorpe Visitor Center. She joined us for episode 31 of Pocono Mountains podcast. For this episode, we wanted to bring in someone who worked their way up the ladder at one of the most revered family resorts anywhere. Matt Butler, from Lifeguard to corporate sales at Woodloch Resort. His story in just a bit. The Poconos is a year-round destination for millions of people, and with 2,400 square miles of forests, lakes, mountains, and rivers, with historic downtowns and iconic family resorts, it's the perfect getaway for a weekend or an entire week. You can always find out more on PoconoMountains.com or watch PTN streaming live 24/7. That's the Pocono Television Network at PoconoTelevision.com. Thanks for listening. We'll have a new episode of Pocono Mountains podcast each week, highlighting lots of the fun things you can experience while you're visiting. Subscribe and leave a review and or comment on whatever platform you listen. Well, back to the episode now. The Pocono Mountains is a great place to work. I can attest to that. I even had my summer stint as a lifeguard at Woodloch back during my college years. Many other people find meaningful and rewarding work in the hospitality field throughout all the resorts and attractions here in the Poconos. There's even a jobs portal online, PoconoMountains.com/jobs, where you can find something for you. Nearly 2 decades ago, Matt Butler showed up at Woodloch for work and hasn't turned back since. Just one of the many success stories. Here's his. Enjoy. Welcome again to Pocono Mountains podcast. It's your host, Jim Hamill, here at Woodloch Pines, everybody. Yes, that Woodloch Pines, the storied family resort in the Pocono Mountains that has been around for a few generations now, making family memories every single season, especially summers up here. I'm across from Matt Butler, corporate sales manager, correct?
That's right.
For Woodloch. You've been here since when?
I started in 2004. So I've been here 17, going on 18 years.
So that's a few years.
Yeah.
I mean, you've learned the ins and outs of Woodloch, and it's a massive property up here. A lot of outdoor space, but obviously the facilities are second to none here. And you and I both have this connection as well. I lifeguarded here, you lifeguarded here, but you worked your way up to corporate sales manager where you are now.
Absolutely. Yep. I started, actually started doing activities when I first came in. Just picked up a job that I thought was in the interim. I thought it was a short-term thing. Then I had some experience as a lifeguard prior, and they needed a beach manager, so I came and did that for a few years, decided I really liked the area, and I liked the job and the place. I decided to pick up some things that might be a little more challenging for me and really learn the business a little more. I started working at the front desk, working a little more of in a professional manner. Then I started working with corporate groups that we have coming in for meetings and things like that, and I really liked that side of the business. So I continued with that and then wound up working with the groups to plan their events, and now I sell the groups to come. So that's been a little bit of a journey, but happy where I am now.
So that's one of those unique stories, I think, but not necessarily unique to this industry. You know, hospitality and restaurants and lodging properties all can kind of like see that upward potential of their employees. You might not have known then, but we all know now that it's possible to have folks come on up through the ranks and reach the level at where you're at, and you're pretty happy with your job.
Absolutely. I definitely not something I saw, and I think a lot of people don't realize the path that's available to you in hospitality. When you come in an entry-level position of some sort, there's so many different branches and different ways to work in hospitality. Even in one place, even at a resort like Woodloch, there's 10, 20 different departments you could start at and end somewhere else, or start and end at the top of that department as well.
That's amazing. Tell me about this place, because it's so special, right? Like, families have been coming here for generations in their own right, but this is a multi-generational family business, and so that in itself is different from a lot of the other places that you might visit throughout the whole entire country. So it's very special to people, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, it's exactly like you said. I mean, some people there's an old saying here that some people, we've been open over 60 years. Some people have been coming over 60 years. We started in 1958, family owned and operated. Same family still running and operating and here every day, which has a trickle down effect to the staff, and everybody kind of feels like a family here. And we do treat our guests like treat our customers like guests in our home almost.
Right.
So, and that's kind of our mission statement. And it's really a feeling that you get. You have certain weeks in the summer where the people who are coming just by the date, because they're here every year, the same date, the same, with their family, and then it's even spilled out to groups. We have certain groups that are coming on the same week every year, consistently year in, year out, because they just, they're used to it, they're treated great, and they really, they like that whole niche that we have here,
Absolutely. I remember working here, and it was that kind of mentality that was driven into you by the Kiesendahl family, that you treat these folks as if they are guests in your own home, and how would you want to be treated? So it's just extending that hospitality even further than you would at your normal, place of business, throughout, the Poconos or anywhere else, right? This place takes it another step higher.
Definitely, yes, we definitely do. And I think, again, that's, something that draws people back, time and time again. And whether it's a group or a family, that's felt within the traveler, the people that are coming in. And, and I think amongst the staff, it's it's definitely very prominent, and very, people really enjoy it.
So tell me about this group thing, right? Like, that's got to be like herding cats. I mean, sometimes you have groups maybe in a few dozen, but maybe a few hundred. It's got to span the whole gamut.
Absolutely. So especially with what I do, which is mainly corporate events, team building, it doesn't have to be a corporation, but maybe some sort of group that's coming together with private functions, whether they're meetings, team building activities, things like that. So I work with groups of 5 to 500 would be a little bit of a max, but we have had them. You know what I mean? So our typical group size are under 100 for the most part, but I would say any group that has meetings, they have team building needs, it's definitely like herding cats, and it's definitely some groups are a little more organized than others. Right. Prior to coming in here, I was just working with a group that's coming February 24th, and they're at the beginning stages of planning. So that's 2 weeks from this. 2 weeks from today that we're recording this, but so it's definitely, basically I'm working with a group that's coming in 2 weeks from today who's just at the beginning stages of planning. So that can be a struggle, especially when you're leading up to the date that they are coming is, in and around the holiday week. So there's some struggles there. And then we have some groups that are planning years out. So it really does span the gamut. It's tough to put a exact thumb on it, but it does keeps you busy, and it keeps you on your toes.
You probably thrive in that kind of excitement level. A lot of deadlines. Hey, there might be a snowstorm that hits at that time. What do you do?
Right.
But Woodloch, I know, has so many different facets to it as well. So, you've got the nightclub, you've got the outdoor recreation kind of stuff like go-karts, and obviously the beach, which you manage for a time. So there's a lot of things that you can offer groups when they come here. Golf is another thing. So tell me, like, that appeal that you're able to kind of sell to groups, because it's not just a one-stop shop.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely not a one-stop shop. And sometimes there's a challenge to explaining this when it's, a sales call or something like that. But we're definitely not a one-stop shop. You have, tons of activities and things that people can do when they're here, where they can, organize private activities if they'd like. The challenge is that we're also a full-fledged resort. We're including meals. We're including all these activities. So sometimes on the sales side of things, you have folks who are reaching out used to receiving a room rate. But we're more than a room rate. It's more like a per-person rate. So we include our meals. We include your activities, things like that. So it kind of, it really does pose some issues, but it's a big advantage for us. Everything that we offer is included, in a package. We try to make it as easy as possible for planners and groups alike to just kind of include everything under one one rate or one fee, which does set us aside in some ways good, some ways bad, but mostly good. And we really work out with, so much alternative additional things that people can have, included in their stay that they don't have to pay for. And it really is attractive for folks who are looking to include some free time maybe, or give their employees a little break. And there's so many things that they can just do here. And even if it's adding their families to come for the weekend, right, after the corporate event, or bringing their families along during the event.
I think they call that bleisure, business and leisure.
Yes, we do that very well here.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah, because, we can have spouses can stay with children, and then the men or women in the group can attend to their meetings while their spouse is hanging out with the family, so to speak. So that's a good blend that we have, and I like that word bleisure. That works really well.
What have you heard from folks here too? I mean, just for your 18 years or so that you've been here, you probably have heard it all, but it's probably the resounding appreciation for that feeling that people get when they're here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you do. I have numerous people tell me that, our kids, this is the only place they want to go. We give them the option to go to Disney or other places like that, and they choose Woodloch. And the more the first couple times you hear it, you're like, okay, they're trying to, they need something from me, but then when you hear it more and more and more, and you really, it's believable because there is just so much to do. Everybody really does enjoy their time here, and you could feel that you're creating something special for these people, even if it's just a meeting to get them out of the office, or if it's a family coming on a trip to reconnect, with their loved ones they don't see all the time, or maybe it's just once a year that they get to see them. And a lot of the same with business. A lot of these businesses are working remotely these days. So getting these people together, even prior to COVID-19 and everything else, there was still a lean towards that. So you had a lot of folks who might be, on the run a lot, and they finally get together to meet, or to be together in the same space, in the same room, eat some meals together, and just kind of relax and get to know each other better, reconnect. And that can go from anywhere from, like I said, a family, a business, or a family business.
Yeah. You guys are in like the unifying business.
Yes,
in that
absolutely,
way,
absolutely. Togethering,
togethering.
Very big on that.
That's a verb. That's a verb.
It's the best place to be, right?
It is. And to think too, the setting up here is second to none too. You're outdoors in the fall time. The foliage is just resplendent as well. So describe to me that setting. I mean, you come up here to Woodloch, you're far away from it all.
We are a world away, but in a good way.
Right.
We're not distance-wise a world away, but when you get here, you feel like you're a lot further than 90, 100 miles from New York City. You know what I mean? So that works really well for us when people need a new landscape. They need to get out of that, the concrete jungle, so to speak, or the business, the office. And this really gives you a place, like you mentioned, the fall. I mean, it's one of the greatest views to come out. We have a 3-mile lake right outside the resort, and you got all the different colors of fall all around the lake. It's just one of the most beautiful settings. Not to mention we have nice nature trails, and that's the same thing. It's just to get out and kind of walk through nature. And a lot of the folks, we're lucky enough to live up in the area and see this on a daily basis, but it actually gives you a new, refound appreciation for it when somebody's coming up and they're just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe, this is what it looks like. And you're like, oh, I walk past it every day, and you kind of get used to it, but it's just it's just an amazing place. 4 seasons,
Sure.
But the fall is one of the best, I think, personally.
Agreed.
I'm more of a warmer climate guy than I am the cold. So the beautiful winter as well, but I love the fall personally myself. It looks great. Weather's great. It's just a perfect time to be in the Pocono Mountains.
Nice. Now, we should have mentioned this at the beginning, but Woodloch incorporates, the resort, which we're at right now, the Pines, but then there's the Springs and there's the Lodge, right? Describe to me like the difference between those three, if you will.
Sure, yeah. And so it's 3 properties that they're all in one basic destination. They're about, 3 miles apart, give or take. So the first and most popular, or the most, the most known would be the Woodloch Pines Resort, and that's the family-friendly property that is, it's been in operation since 1958, and so that's like our largest option. We have about 150 rooms here at Woodloch Pines, lots of activities and amenities right on property, which is consistent with the other properties as well. But probably the most well-known, the one that's been around the longest, is Woodloch Pines. It's family-friendly, and that also coincides with Woodloch Springs, which is where our golf course is.
Yeah.
Now Woodloch
I've played that a couple,
Springs-
2-3 times.
It's a great course. A little challenging, but it's definitely a lot of fun.
Oh,
That's where I learned to golf, and makes
nice.
you feel better when you go to a different course. But,
right.
But
a lot of balls lost to those woods at Woodloch, right?
Absolutely. So Woodloch Springs is unique because the accommodation type over there are vacation rental houses.
True.
So they're actual, instead of a hotel room, you have a house that's located on and around the golf course. They range anywhere from 2 to 5 bedrooms. And then if you rented it out for a family, you rent the house, and you can do that with or without meals.
Yeah.
But if you're renting it, you could just rent the house outright, or if we rent them to corporate travelers, most times we'll do a private bedroom and bathroom in the house. So it's almost like a hotel room inside of a house where they'll share the kitchens and living room. And obviously these houses are fully furnished, treated like as almost like a hotel room would. Each room would have its own TV and bathroom and things like that. And the third property is the newest property at the Woodloch umbrella here, and that's the Lodge at Woodloch. Now the Lodge at Woodloch is an adult-only facility. Right. It's a 58-room facility, boutique hotel and spa. So they really focus. There's definitely activities. I mean, each property is going to have a set of activities. The Lodge at Woodloch focuses a little bit more on the mind and body, yoga, meditation classes, different art classes and cooking demonstrations. Definitely a little bit different than all the activities over at Woodloch Pines, which I didn't really mention when we were chatting on there. But we have everything from bumper cars and go-karts to...
you think of it, you got it.
Exactly. Yeah. Nightly entertainment every night. You have rock climbing walls and, just all kinds of different things. All ages, trivia contests, you name it. I mean, there's just things going on basically from 10 a.m. to, whatever time you want to go to bed. You know what I mean? So things are going on all day. And that's pretty consistent with all three properties.
So something for everyone there on that spectrum.
Absolutely.
But back to you, Matt. I mean, we're talking about people in the Poconos. Can you leave us with any lasting impression on just like what it is about this region, this company that really kind of leads you to want to be a part of it?
Absolutely. And I first kind of touched on it a little bit when I first came in, we were first starting to talk. And, I picked up a job here literally because I had some friends who worked here and they needed some help. And they asked me, they say, hey, do you
know how that goes?
Yeah. And I said, well, yeah, kind of in between looking at different opportunities. And so I wound up taking a job helping them paint, to tell you the truth. We do these wonderful haunted hay rides here at Woodloch. So I always like to explain that a little bit in the fall. That's another great thing in the fall. But we do the haunted hay rides. It's a big operation. There's something that takes place a couple days a week throughout the fall, and they're really popular, and they bring people back year in and year out. So when they first needed help, I said, I can help do that. I could paint, So I came into paint. A few weeks later, they're like, well, we need you to, full time. We're not just helping paint, so now all of a sudden I'm activities full time, and I was like, and then I started to really get an appreciation for the family, for the folks I worked with. They were, it seemed like we were all, we liked coming to work, and we liked hanging out together, and and doing these things as a small close-knit family, it felt like here. So that was when I made that decision and to stick around. And I really liked the area. I did grow up for the most part here. I was born in Long Island, New York.
All right. We won't hold that against you. It's all right.
Wound up moving up to the Poconos, so it was a little bit of a different feel, but I got used to it. I always liked it up here. I liked it. It was a little more slower pace, but not too slow. There was enough to do. There's enough recreation out. I mean, natural bodies of water, something that I like to hang out in. Absolutely. Lakes, rivers, we have plenty of that. I was a big skier, so obviously you're in the right place for that. And I really took to the area, and I took to Woodloch, especially because of the connections I made here and the friends. And I'll be honest with you, that's what kept me in the beginning. And then as I started to progress with my career, I saw a little more, future in it. And it was only a bonus because I was here with my friends and family, and I was happy to be here. And that was kind of what drew me in. But what kept me going was the ladder that I could climb, or the path that I wanted to make. It was really up to me, because there's so many ways you can go in hospitality that really, that whatever works best for you or whatever you find you're best at, you really can progress with that in hospitality. So I do some work with the Northampton Community College.
Sure.
I try to express that because that's how I saw it, and that's how it worked for me. And I wound up doing what I like the most. Now, if that's somebody who's a chef, they may have a different path,
Sure.
which is great. And there's so many different options that you can do, that there is something for everybody here in hospitality. So especially here in the Pocono Mountains and at Woodloch, of course.
This podcast has come full circle then. We started talking about just how you got into this, but I think you really just hit the nail on the head is that, you wanted to stay in that, not just because, there was that career path, but because you were valued as a friend in a lot of ways by the people that you were working with. I think that's what, a lot of these employers in the Poconos have to offer because they are family-centric, family-minded, and just, a great place to kind of spend 8 to 10 to 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
You spend a lot more time at work than you do at home sometimes, and obviously you want that to be a rewarding experience. And thus far for you, it has been.
It's certainly rewarding. And you know what? A lot of those that you mentioned, I remember the 10 to 12 hour days. They're definitely they're still around and things like that. But a lot of times those are the strong pushes where everybody's kind of pushing together and everybody's, and it really, when it's all said and done, you feel like a sense of accomplishment that you've all worked together to get through those rough stretches. Yeah. When I say rough, it's rough for the employees on the holidays and things like that when they're, and their families are off and there's a lot of people around. So, but yeah, you kind of feel like you got through something together, all while creating something great for the folks who came and left, So it's definitely rewarding in many ways.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Matt, is there anything else you'd like to say? Matt Butler here with Woodloch Resort, a 3-property, amazing facility here, and obviously long held by the Kiesendahl family and tradition unlike any other.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, hey, I just want to say thanks for listening. Thanks for having me, and thanks for all the kind words about our property. We'd love for anybody who want to check us out. You can, certainly do so online and give us a buzz, whatever's best for you, social media, whatever.
Give us that URL.
Yeah,
woodloch.com.
www.woodloch.com.
All right.
We have Woodloch meetings. We have the lodge at Woodloch. We got a lot going on here. But no, honestly, everything is. I don't really have much else to add besides come check us out. We'd love to have you, welcome you to our family and our home, and and we'd love to see you here at Woodloch.
All right, Matt, thanks so much for joining us on Pocono Mountains podcast.
Absolutely,
have a good
pleasure.
One.
All right, thanks so much.
It was great to catch up with Matt at Woodloch, where his career started and continues to this day. Meetings are a big part of what the Poconos is good at, so he's the right guy for the job at Woodloch, helping to plan and orchestrate a memorable stay for groups of any size. Thanks to him for sharing his expertise.
Deanna, with everything we've been through lately, it's about time we start enjoying our lives.
Mm-hmm. And Chris, the Pocono Mountains offers something for everyone for that relaxing time.
Whether it's world-class dining or just something simple, it's your choice.
And if fun is what you're all about, try our skiing or boarding, or make a splash.
And we're just an easy drive away.
Go to PoconoMountains.com to plan your getaway.
We're back. Thanks for listening to Pocono Mountains Podcast. I'm Jim Hamill. We also touched on the Lodge at Woodloch, a destination spa resort, back on episode 24 of the podcast. It's a 4-diamond rated property by AAA, which means it exceeds standards for guest experiences. Our contributor, Christina Luna, even visited and found the brand new indoor snow room at the lodge. Check out that episode. That's episode 40 with spas in the Poconos. But now, staying with our jobs theme for this podcast, a recent story from Pocono Mountains Magazine with the internship program at East Stroudsburg University and one student who was able to learn the ropes at Woodloch before launching her own career. For many, many years now, teenagers have had an opportunity to work at some of the family resorts here in the Poconos, including here at Woodloch Resort, learning the ropes. And now East Stroudsburg University has an internship program for its students, and so we tagged along with one of those students as she did her internship here at Woodloch.
100 to service coordinator.
Ever since she was in high school, Elizabeth Bonici has dreamed of working in hospitality, and now she's one step closer to her dream coming true.
My ultimate goal would become a event planner. I would just absolutely love to get to help people enjoy their special day, especially weddings. That would be a dream come true for me.
Before she gets there, Elizabeth is majoring in hotel, restaurant, and tourism management at East Stroudsburg University, and her internship this semester has her at the front desk at Woodloch Resort. Just one way she's getting the necessary experience in her desired field.
So here at Woodloch, I predominantly am doing my internship at the front desk, but I've also had the opportunity to get to work in other departments such as reservations, housekeeping, group sales, the kitchen, and the dining room as well.
Elizabeth is one of many students who come through the hotel, restaurant, and tourism management courses here at ESU, with a focus on everything from food and beverage to data analytics and resort management.
We partner with industry as much as possible. We all the students have to do an internship, and we like to place them in local resorts around the Poconos.
Professors at ESU help guide these students to the career path best for them. In the kitchen, students run the entire operation, a fully functioning restaurant on campus, picking the menu, prepping, and then serving the guests.
We also have internship fairs and job fairs as well, where people from the industry come to ESU and they'll speak to us. We also get to go on tours at nearby casinos, resorts, wineries, which is really awesome experience as well. So we get to see into the back of the house of the industry and really get to decide what we like to do.
University leaders have seen such a demand for students going into the hospitality industry, they have expanded the course offerings to include a data analytics course, a deep dive on the numbers that gauge how the industry is faring and where it is going. And that is ideal for the Pocono Mountains, a major destination for millions of visitors every year.
There is more of the trend that is focusing on data. Currently, because due to the pandemic, more and more so that we are focusing in this area, as we can analyze the hotel performance, the trend analysis, the frequencies, that how many guests are coming in, how much do they pay, and also projecting and also forecasting future trends.
Through a partnership with the Pocono Mountains Visitors Bureau, a new internship with the PMVB will immerse the students in analyzing the data region-wide. Plus, there are 3 minors offered to students: hotel restaurant tourism, event planning management, and park management.
There's a huge demand for hospitality workers here in the Poconos. A lot of people are looking for jobs, and they're actually, quite good jobs. They're paying more to attract top talent.
And with a 95% plus placement rate for seniors leaving ESU with these skills and talents, the future is bright for the industry and for partnerships within it. As for Elizabeth, she's right at home at Woodloch and ESU, picking both because of the Poconos' reputation for hospitality.
And when I was looking around, I saw that the Poconos had so many different opportunities to get to be really in the middle of hospitality. So I thought, what better place to come than what is known as one of the hearts of hospitality.
To find out more about the program that can put students in position for a great future in hospitality and tourism, head to esu.edu. Look for the Hotel, Restaurant, and Tourism Management page under Academics in the menu, and under Programs and Majors. Jim Hamill for the Pocono Television Network. Woodloch Resort, a family destination for generations and a top employer to so many hardworking individuals. Thank you for listening. Please remember to subscribe to Pocono Mountains Podcast anywhere podcasts are available. Come visit us in the Pocono Mountains. Plan your trip today.